A while back, I read a story by Joyce Holiday entitled Word Become Flesh, and I am adapting her story a little bit, but I wanted to give her credit even though it's not exactly the same story. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. We've been talking about the power of story. We've looked at the story of each of the gospel writers and how they tell the story of Jesus and how that telling of the story impacts our lives. The Word became flesh and dwelt among us. Small-town pastor by the name of Pastor Joe was working on his Christmas sermon, but it was 2 o'clock in the afternoon on Christmas Eve. He sat down at his desk. There were times back in the past when he would work on his sermons for several hours and several weeks ahead of time. But this time, life, busyness, ministry had taken his time, and it's 2 o'clock on Christmas Eve, and he hadn't written a single word. He stared at the blank page, wondering what words he could put on the page. There came a knock at his office door, and he answered. It was a lady he'd never seen before. She said, "Pastor, I don't know what to do, but I don't have any food to eat. Can you help me out?" "Well, certainly," he said, and walked her to the pantry, though it was kind of bare. He said, "I wish I had turkey or ham or something like that to give you, but we don't. We only have some canned goods and a few things that might help you out." But she said, "It's okay, Pastor. We have nothing to eat, and I'll gladly eat green beans and corn for Christmas dinner this year." He helped her, then reached into his pocket and gave her a $20 bill and said, "I don't know what else you can find, but I want you to have something to go with the corn and green beans." She thanked him profusely and said, "God bless you," as she left. He made his way back to the office and sat down again to put words on paper. And this time the telephone rang. It was one of his parishioners. She was distraught. She said, "My son's just been arrested. Can you come to our house?" He dropped everything, made his way to their house, and was met at the door with this mother crying great, huge tears. She said, "I can't believe it. They've arrested him for shoplifting. You see, we weren't going to have a very good Christmas this year, and Jamie decided that he would pick up a baby doll for his sister. He didn't want her to go with nothing, and I met with the shop owner and begged him not to have him arrested, but they did anyway, and the police have him at the station. Can you do anything? Can you see if maybe they'll drop the charges, or the police will at least let him out for Christmas and maybe go back afterwards?" He prayed with her and said, "Well, I'll see what I can do." Made his way to the police station, where he was met with not a welcome tone. And they said, "We're sorry, there's nothing we can do." Indicated that maybe he wasn't even there, and they said, "Well, check at the other station and see if maybe he's there." So he did. He got there only to find out that he actually was in the first place that he went. Turned around, went back, said, "I know he's here," and they told me that he was here at the other station. And again, they kind of grumbled and said, we can't let him out. The shop owner has decided he wants to press charges. There's nothing we can do. So the pastor left, not happy about his encounter, but decided to leave. As he was making his way down the street back towards his office, he was met by a homeless man. And the homeless man he had seen before, but not on Christmas Eve. They talked for a while, and they had talked many times before, but this time the man said, you know, it's starting to get cold, and I don't like to be out in the cold, especially if it's going to start snowing, which it seems like it's going to start any time now. And not long after he said those words, it actually did begin to snow. The pastor said, come with me. We'll find you a place at least warm and out of the weather. Made their way back to the church, where he found a place where he could stay overnight and at least stay out of the weather. As he helped him to get settled into a little pallet and a place where he could at least stay out of the snow, they chatted some more, and it was clear that the man was about half drunk, but he needed a place that was warm and safe and off the streets. Pastor heard the bells of downtown chimes that marked the time, and it was already 6 o'clock in the afternoon. As he made his way back to his office and looked at that blank sheet of paper once again, wondering what words he could have that would mean something to the people who gathered the next morning for Christmas. Struggled. Seems like he just couldn't come up with the words when there was another knock at the door of this church office. This time it was another parishioner. This parishioner said that they were having a problem at home. It was a child. Said mom and dad are into it. Dad came home drunk and is beating mom up. The pastor called for some help with the authorities and immediately left with the little boy to go back home. Was caught in that situation for quite a while as the police tried to calm everything down, and the pastor tried to talk with each of the people involved, the whole family, trying to calm the kids, the little boy, the young girl. Several hours later, as things finally settled down, they took the husband off to jail as well. The pastor started making his way back yet again to that empty office and blank sheet of paper. As he did, he bumped into, not literally, but came upon the daughter of the earlier parishioner, the one whose son was arrested for shoplifting. This was the older daughter, and she was hunched over and carrying something heavy. As he drew nearer, he noticed that she was carrying the baby Jesus that she had taken from the church nativity scene. And he inquired what was going on. She said, well, Mom keeps telling me I need to walk with Jesus more. He kind of chuckled to himself, but took her hand, took the weight of the baby Jesus from her, said, let's walk with Jesus together. They walked back to the church, replaced baby Jesus where he belonged, prayed with her and walked her home, before walking back. And as he did, he heard the chimes. It was midnight. It was Christmas. And he still hadn't put a word on paper. But the Word had become flesh. Amen. Thank you, Jamie. Thank you to all the readers who've helped out this morning. Thank you for joining us wherever you've joined us from. Our benediction, Now the Work of Christmas Begins, by Howard Thurman. When the song of the angels is stilled, when the star in the sky is gone, when the kings and princes are home, when the shepherds are back with their flocks, the work of Christmas begins. To find the lost, to heal the broken, to feed the hungry, to release the prisoner, to rebuild the nations, to bring peace among the people, to make music in the heart. Amen. Thank you for joining us. Hope you'll be back next week and as often as you can. God bless you all, and Merry Christmas.